Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 1971 movie Let's Scare Jessica to Death. Yeah, we're going to talk about this bad boy here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember the other day when I was doing my review for Dark Knight of the Scarecrows on the Body Bags channel. I remember telling the story about how when I was young and I was in junior high, getting into high school and stuff. One of the things that used to be like my favorite thing in the world was to stay home because at like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, TBS would play classic horror movies, and they would play movies from the 70s and the 60s, some of the 80s and stuff like that. And I used to be able to watch many great films that way. And I would be able to watch like Duel and Dark Knight of the Scarecrows and Stepford Wives and Windows and De Palma's movie Sisters and just so on and so on. I used to be able to watch Wes Craven movies like Chiller and Deadly Blessing and so on. I used to be able to watch many great movies that way. And that's how I got to watch this movie that we're talking about here, Let's Scare Jessica to Death. Now, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's great. But I will be honest, this movie is an acquired taste. It's not really for everybody. The movie came out in 1971. It's it's a little bit tricky to kind of categorize it as a certain type of horror film because it's kind of a mix between like a vampire story mixed with kind of like a ghost story kind of mixed with like a psychological horror film. So it's kind of a mishmash of all those kind of things, but still I personally enjoy it. And I know the movie, it's like I said, it's kind of divided. Some people love it, some people hate it, but anyway, though the movie, it's fairly simple. It's a simple story. The movie stars Zora Lampert, who, funny thing is like, unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the actor who plays her husband in the movie, but Zora Lampert, she ended up playing George C. Scott's wife in Exorcist 3, and the actor who plays her husband Duncan in this movie, he ended up playing Linda Blair's doctor in the first Exorcist. So you got two actors from the Exorcist movies in this, but yeah, the story's pretty basic. You got Jessica, her husband Duncan, and her friend Woody. The movie starts off, they're driving, they just bought this new house. Duncan put every penny he had into it, and Jessica had just come out of a mental hospital. And so she's, trying to readjust to life and things like that. And so they're driving, and they bought this, beautiful house out in the country. It's very spooky, and it's like, it's a pretty house, but it's got this kind of creepy ambiance to it, and the whole movie has a creepy vibe going through it. And like throughout the whole movie, you hear like you hear kind of like the musical score is a lot of like wind sound, creepy wind, like almost like what you hear on like a Thrills and Chills of the Haunted House kind of a record and stuff. But so they're driving to their house, and they stop at a cemetery. They're driving in a hearse, by the way. And so Jessica gets out of the hearse, and she goes, and she's doing gravestone rubbings because apparently she's got this thing for gravestone rubbings. And they're like, "Hurry up, Jess! We need to get to the house and all this stuff before it gets dark." And so she does her gravestone rubbings, and she keeps seeing this girl in a white dress kind of running through the graveyard. And she's like, "I don't know who that is." At first, she thinks she's seeing things, so she just kind of dismisses it because she's like, "Well, I did just get out of a mental hospital, so it's probably just me seeing things." So, and you keep hearing her voice kind of going on inside her head, and she's, "Am I seeing things? What's going on? Is it happening all over again?" And all this stuff. So they get to the house, and it's getting dark, and Jessica gets out of the hearse, and she sees like there's it looks like somebody's rocking in the chair on the porch. Is like as she gets closer, it looks like the rocking chair is just rocking on its own. And then so they go into the house, and Jessica sees this woman at the top of the stairs. And at first, Jessica doesn't know how to react because, like I said, she thinks that she's seeing things. It's all in her mind. But Woody and Duncan, they come into the house and they see her too. They're like, "Yeah, we see her too." So they run upstairs, and they find out that actually there's this girl named Emily who's been squatting in their house for a while. And she tells them she's going to go ahead and leave. She didn't mean any harm and all this stuff. And so, Jessica's like, "Well, go ahead and just stay the night. Go ahead and have something to eat, stay the night. We can take you into town in the morning." And so, Emily accepts. And so they're all getting to know each other and stuff. And so, Duncan and Jessica, they're like, well, we're tired. We're going to go to bed. And Woody is instantly infatuated with Emily. He really wants to get close to her. And so he takes her out for a walk, and they're walking by the lake, and this is where we get to find out that pretty much like the whole story, kind of the exposition scene where Woody tells Emily about how Duncan sunk every penny into this place, and that they're going to try to make this farm go, and he's going to help out for a little while, then he might move on, and Jessica had just gotten out of a mental institution and stuff like that. And so he's trying to get close to Emily. He's trying to kiss her, but she's kind of backing away. And, she's like, hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere yet. Just give it time and let's get to know each other and stuff. But it's kind of coming clear that really she's kind of more, Emily's kind of more zeroing in on Duncan. She's kind of more like going after him. And even Jessica can sense it, because like they're having dinner and she's all like, you can hear her voice going, her mental thoughts. And she's like, he likes her. I know that he likes her and he wants her around and he's attracted to her and things like that. So like the next day they're, bathing in the lake by the house and she's, you got like, Duncan, he's washing Emily's back. They're all washing each other and stuff. So he's washing Emily's back. Emily's, oh, that's so great. That's so fantastic and stuff like that. And Jessica, she's not really, she's not really having it. She's not enjoying it very much, her being there. So they're all laying out by the dock. And so Emily's like, I'm going to go prepare lunch and then I'll go ahead and start packing. Sorry. So Jessica's like, I'm going to go out for a swim. And so they're like, oh, you swim. We'll sit here and watch. And so she's swimming and she gets out a little way and she sees like, looks like somebody's down at the bottom of the lake. It's like trying to pull her in. And so, she's, trying to get out of the cove. And so Woody and Duncan, they come to her and, she's telling them there's somebody there. And Woody goes to check it out. It's like, Jessica, there's nobody here and all this stuff. And so they're eating lunch and stuff. And, Jessica's like, I know Duncan's getting fed up. And, you hear her thoughts going, I know Duncan's getting fed up and I know he's getting agitated because, it seems like it's happening again, that I'm losing my grip and all this stuff. And so, Duncan's like, well, we're going to need some money to live on. So let's go check the house, see if there's antiques that we could sell. And, so we'll go take them down. And so, they find a bunch of stuff and Jessica's in the attic and she's looking around, sees like old dresses, old things there. And she sees like this old portrait and there's like a woman in there that looks exactly like Emily. Very, very much like Emily. And I thought at first, honestly, when I first watched the movie, I thought the actress who played Emily, I think her, I can't remember the actress's name, but I thought it was a young Beverly D'Angelo. I thought she kind of had like a Beverly D'Angelo kind of look to her. But I mean, I'm wrong, but that's what I thought. But so anyway, so they're upstairs looking around and he sees the portrait and she's all like, oh, can't we keep it? And he's like, no, let's get rid of it and stuff. So they're getting ready to head into town, see if they can sell some of this stuff off. And Emily comes out, she's putting her stuff in there. And kind of like Jessica does want her to go, but she can see that Woody really doesn't want her to go. And Duncan, she can kind of tell Duncan doesn't really want her to leave either. And so she's all like, well, let's go ahead and ask her if she wants to stay. And so Duncan goes up to her. He's like, well, we're extending an invitation. If you want to stay with us, you can. And Emily accepts. And it's kind of like, Jessica's kind of like, I kind of regret this decision, but oh well, that's what everybody wants. They want her to stay. So, so she's hanging out. So Jessica and Duncan, they go into town. They're trying to pawn the stuff off, and they find out that the people in the town are incredibly rude. They're just really nasty. They're like, like this one guy, he's standing against their hearse while they're in the stores and stuff like that. And he's like, like rubbing his boot heel on it and scratching up the car. And so these guys are kind of picking on Duncan and stuff. And, sorry. So Jessica, she goes to get eggs and stuff. And, and she realizes like too. And there's one thing that's weird. Like a lot of the people, they're wearing like bandages on their necks, or they're wearing like scarves on their necks, or they got like, like looks like they got cut down their face or cutting like along here or something like that. And so, she's asking Duncan, what do you think that's all about? What do you think is going on here and stuff like that? So, before I get too much more into it, I'm going to go ahead and proclaim spoilers right now. Okay, so spoilers. So, still with me? Okay. So anyway, so they go and they find this antique shop, and they talk to the guy who's running the place, and so they're talking. Well, we're not looking to buy stuff. We want to see if we can sell some stuff. So he's like, okay, let's go out and see what you got. And so they're showing him the stuff and everything, and he's like, well, where'd you get this? And he's like, well, we got that house, and it's like, wow, yeah, I heard that the daughter, she died there, and people are saying she still haunts the land, and some people say that she's a vampire and stuff like that, and she died in the lake, and all this. And Jessica is kind of like starting to piece it all together, but Duncan is kind of like, I mean, he's like not wanting Jessica to get her imagination going and things like that. So he's just like, yeah, can we just get the money, please? We're kind of in a hurry. We need to go and stuff. And so, Jessica's like, don't be rude like that and stuff. So they get back to the house and everything else, and like they're getting ready to go back to the house. I'm sorry, but and then turns out that the antiques guy, he's going fishing, and so he's going fishing basically out in the same lake, and you could tell like there's something getting ready to happen to him, and so Jessica and Duncan, they're in a graveyard. She's doing her gravestone rubbings and stuff like that, and they find a little mole, and Jessica wants to keep it for a pet. And so, Jessica's, oh, wow. And he's like, okay, just wait here. I'm going to go get, something we can put the mole into so we can keep him. So Duncan goes off, and she's in there. She's just playing with him, petting him and stuff like that. And then she sees the girl in the white dress again. And so she's like, who are you? Wait a minute. Where are you going? So she's chasing her off and, following after her and everything. And the girl leads Jessica down to the, basically to the shore by the lake. And she sees that the man who runs the antique store, he's dead. He's like covered in blood and all this kind of stuff. And so she freaks out and everything. She runs and she finds Duncan. And so, she's telling him about she found the guy dead. And so they go back to check, and, it turns out that the body's gone. And she's like, look, I know what I saw, and I promise you, is it happening to me again? And all this stuff. And then she sees the woman in the white dress, and that's her. That's the girl I was telling you about. That's why I've seen. So they go and they try to, like, catch her and stuff. And so they're trying to talk to her. It turns out the girl can't talk, but her neck is all bandaged up as well. And so Jessica's like, did you see this? Did you see what happened to the man? Did you know what they did with the body? And she's just, oh. So Woody comes up. He's working the field. I kind of felt bad for Woody though, because I mean it's Jessica and Duncan's farm, but if you watch the movie, it seems like poor Woody is the guy doing all the work. It's like, what the hell is this? I thought he was supposed to help out. He wasn't supposed to sit there and fucking do everything there. But so anyway, so he goes up, and they're like, well, who's this? What's going on here and stuff? And Emily comes around, and as soon as they see Emily, or as soon as this girl sees Emily, she's out of there. She takes off. So Emily's coming up. She's got like one of their apples. She's like, who is that? And what's going on? And all this stuff. And, so Jessica's like, yeah, it seems kind of funny that this girl, as soon as she sees Emily, boy, she just boots it out of there. And so, they're sitting there, and they're having dinner, and Jessica, she's thinking in her mind, Duncan's going to leave me and all this other kind of stuff. And you can see yeah, he's got the wheels turning and all this stuff. So they go to bed, and Emily, she's like trying to lighten the mood by telling a story, and you can see that Duncan is, kind of paying more attention to her, and even Woody is noticing it. And so Jessica's like, I'm going to go to bed. And so Duncan's like, well, I guess I'll go with you and stuff. And Woody's like, yeah, I'm going to turn into, and he looks at, Duncan. He's like, take care of your wife, man. And so, and so he's laying in the bed with Jessica, and Jessica's, like trying to chat with him and everything else. And he's telling her like, yeah, I can't take any more of this, Jessica. You need to go. We need to get some money so you can go see your doctor in New York, and you're probably gonna have to go back. And she's like, there's no way, you ain't got the money for this. Well, I'll find it and stuff. Because I just can't take this anymore. And she's all like, and so she's getting upset and everything else. And he's like, don't cry. And she's like, I'm not crying. Yes, you are. You see the tears pouring down her face. And she's like, yeah, you want to leave me. I know you do, and all this stuff. And she's like, "Look, I'm gonna go sleep downstairs." And it's like, we don't need to sleep together tonight and all this. And so he's like, "No, I'll go and go." So he goes down, and so Jessica, pretty much cries herself to sleep. And Duncan, he's, basically he's laying in a chair in the living room, he's sleeping. And so Emily, she comes in and she seduces him. And so now, pretty much, they're kind of getting together and stuff. And so she pretty much, she's seducing him and bringing him into whatever it is that they're into. And so, like the next day, you got Jessica. She's looking out the window and she sees that Emily and Duncan are now really, really chummy and all this stuff. And so, Emily, she goes upstairs and um, she sees Jessica, and she's, Jessica's starting to notice about how that picture in the hallway really does look a whole lot like Emily. And so Emily's like, let's go out and we'll go out swimming and stuff like that. And then this part to me kind of got to really be kind of like almost Carnival of Souls territory, because they're out there swimming, and it's almost like Emily's like trying to pull Jessica into the water. And this part I thought was really creepy, because at one point you don't see Emily, but then you see her kind of rise up out of the water, like in this shot here. Which I admit, the first time I saw it, that creeped me out. It does play very much like Carnival of Souls, though, like I said. And yeah, you see her there. She's got this very kind of creepy, ghostly look to her, which I thought was frightening. And so you see her, she's coming towards Jessica, and just as about she's about to bite Jessica's neck. And it's like, I guess it is pretty much a vampire movie, but Jessica is able to get away from her, and so she goes and locks herself in her room, and she's kind of able to just stay barricaded in there. Well, meanwhile, like Duncan, he goes into town, and he's, basically kind of like all the creepy town guys are kind of like closing in on him. You see, like something's going to happen, and it's not going to be good. And so Jessica finally, she decides to, she decides she's going to try to go out and see what's going on and stuff. And so she's out looking around. She gets away from the house and all this stuff. And basically she's just trying to get away from Emily. And the downside is, unfortunately, she doesn't tell Woody what's going on. So poor Woody. Like I said, I feel sorry for this guy. If there's one character in the movie I really feel sorry for, it's Woody. This guy just kind of gets the short end of the stick the whole way through the movie. So anyway, so Woody, he gets done working in the fields and all this, and so he goes back into the house, and he runs into Emily, and Emily's all dressed up beautiful. She doesn't look like, she's not looking like this anymore. She looks more like her normal self, and so she's seducing Woody, and she's like, "I thought you liked me. I like you," and stuff like that. And so she gets close enough to him, she bites him on the neck. And so, Jessica, she's, running down the road. She gets she gets picked up by a truck driver, and she doesn't see like, the left side of his face, but it's revealed that he's got the cut, on his face, like all the other townsmen do and all this. And so she gets to town, and she's, she's looking for her husband. The hearse is there, but her husband's nowhere to be found. And so she's looking, she turns around, even the salesman from the antique shop, even he's got like a nice big cut down his face too, and you can tell he's one of them now, whatever they are, vampires or whatever they are. And so she's trying to get back home, and she falls asleep in the field and all this stuff. And well, she doesn't fall asleep, but she passes out, and then she wakes up, she hears Duncan calling to her. So he comes and picks her up, takes her into the house, and he starts like trying to seduce her. And then Emily comes in, and she's got the knife, and so she makes a cut on Jessica, and they're going to start like drinking her blood and stuff like that, I guess. And then you realize, like, all of a sudden the townsmen here, they all come into the house now, and they're all about ready to, I guess, feast on Jessica. But yeah, it's really, really creepy. The atmosphere, the spooky mood in this movie is amazing. So Jessica's like trying to get out of the house, and she goes downstairs. They got like this big kind of like case. It's like, almost big for like what do they call them, like a cello or stand up bass or something like that. Like the big one with the bow, and all that stuff. Because Duncan is like an orchestra player. but they got the big case standing there, and Jessica trips over it, and the body of the girl in the white dress, she's in there, and she's all bloody and dead and stuff like that. So she gets out of the house and she's running down, and she comes, she sees the, basically like the tractor that's, like spraying uh, pesticides and stuff on the crop. She sees it's running, and so she goes up, Woody, Woody, and all this stuff, and she sees Woody's on the tractor's running, but Woody's on there. He's dead, and he's all covered in blood and stuff like that. And so she freaks out. So she's able to get to the rowboat by the lake, and she gets out in the middle of the lake, and it's really, really creepy and kind of disturbing because now like all the townspeople kind of like they're all on the shore. They kind of got like everything. They kind of got like the whole lake just kind of surrounded, and she's in the middle of the lake and stuff. And then hands come up, and this is where's that picture at? Just a second. Yeah. So you see like hands come in. They're not skeleton hands, but they're just regular hands. But yeah, they're getting ready to come up and try to get into the boat, and so she finds like a hook, and she ends up hitting the person with the hook. That's revealed as Duncan. So Jessica ends up essentially killing her husband, and so basically the movie ends with Jessica sitting in this rowboat out in the middle of the lake, and it's like Emily turns around, kind of walks away, but you still see like a lot of the townspeople just kind of standing there waiting for her to come back, and so that was pretty much it. But I mean, the movie it's genuinely scary. It's really, really good if you can find it. I think right now it's you might check on YouTube. You might be able to watch it for free. But yeah, I think right now this here was released on DVD by Paramount a while back, but it's been discontinued, and now I think you can get like a DVD of it through Warner Archives, I believe. But this is something I would love to see this get the Blu-ray treatment. Maybe if possible, maybe some interviews or something. I don't know, but I really do enjoy this movie. Like I said, this movie is kind of polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I personally love it. I think it's a great movie, and it's genuinely scary. It's not gory, so if you're a gore hound, you're not going to care for this much. But the movie is, it's one of those movies. What it lacks in gore and carnage and all that other kind of stuff, it makes up for in scary atmosphere, in building suspense, creating tension, being genuinely scary, setting mood, setting tone. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you can get a hold of it, watch Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I think this movie is fantastic. I truly love it, and it's one of the best. It's like I said though, it's kind of a mishmash because it's kind of like part vampire film, part ghost story, part psychological horror film. So I mean, it's kind of different, but it is unique and it is a good film, and it's awesome. I really do enjoy it. So yeah, yeah, I think I talked about it long enough. But yeah, I honestly do. I recommend Let's Scare Jessica to Death. If you check it out, it's a great film, great scary film. I think my personal opinion. I think I remember reading an article where they said like this is a movie that it's not really good enough for Halloween. Personally, I think it is. I think it'd be a fun movie to watch at Halloween time. That's just me. If you want something that's more like I said, more scary and about atmosphere and being frightening and stuff. But anyway, that's going to do it. So yeah, we talked about Let's Scare Jessica to Death. So if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing, I do weekly review videos. I've been doing shelf by shelves of my movie collection. I do haul videos, all kinds of things. I'm always trying to look for new ideas to keep it interesting. So try to keep everybody entertained. So hopefully I can do that. So until then, until the next time, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, wishing you a good night, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.